Have you ever told your own kid, "Not tonight, buddy. Daddy's got too much to do," not once, but almost every night, until she finally stopped asking? Or opened your phone before bed and seen the same to-do list still sitting there, unfinished, glowing back at you like it never sleeps either? Maybe you've rewritten that list every Sunday night, work out 5 times a week, read every day, finally unpack those boxes, and thrown the whole thing away by Tuesday, only to write it again next Sunday. Here's what nobody tells you. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a starting problem. And the fix isn't bigger willpower. It's a rule so small you can't say no to it. His name was Daniel. He spent his days carrying other people's entire lives into new homes. He hadn't unpacked his own in 14 months. Then a 59-year-old mover named Victor asked him one question on a tailgate, and the answer took 90 seconds to change everything. Stay with me until the end. Daniel Reyes was 33, and he ran a 3-man crew for a moving company on the east side of Columbus, Ohio. His job was starting things. Every morning he walked into a stranger's old life and helped them begin a new one. New address, new rooms, new possibilities, box by box. He was good at it. His crew finished ahead of schedule. Clients requested him by name. There was a coffee mug on his shelf that read, "Reyes Crew, fastest in the fleet," a joke gift from his supervisor that had stopped being a joke. But Daniel's own apartment told a different story. 14 months earlier, he'd moved into a 1-bedroom on 5th Street after his marriage ended. 9 boxes had come with him. 9 boxes were still there, taped shut, stacked against the wall like furniture, because carrying them off the truck counted as moving in, and everything after that felt like a job with no deadline and nobody watching. Every Sunday night, Daniel opened the Notes app on his phone and wrote a new list. Work out 5 days a week, read 20 minutes before bed, unpack 1 box, call his sister back, learn enough Spanish for the shift lead exam. But Wednesday, the list was a screenshot he never reopened. He wasn't lazy. Anyone who'd watched him carry a 300-pound sectional up 2 flights of stairs knew that. He just couldn't start anything that didn't have someone else's name attached to it. Different muscles, he told himself. Moving is physical. The rest of it takes something else. He almost believed it. His daughter, Mia, was 7. Every other weekend she stayed with him, and every other weekend he promised the same thing. "We'll read a whole book this time. I mean it." They'd get through 4 pages before his phone buzzed, or the dishes called, or the sight of a taped box behind the couch reminded him it existed. By the 5th weekend in a row, Mia stopped asking. Then, in March, Daniel's ex-wife Rachel came to pick Mia up early and stood in the doorway a moment, her eyes drifting, without meaning to, past Daniel's shoulder to the same 9 boxes still stacked against the wall, exactly where they'd been the last time she'd stood in that doorway. "Her teacher did a family project last week," Rachel said, looking back at him. "Mia told the class her dad doesn't really read books. Said you're always too busy." She didn't say it to hurt him. She didn't even mention the boxes. That's what made it worse. He could see her not mentioning them. That night, Daniel did what he always did when something cracked open in him. He made a list. Not the usual one, the big one. Workout at 5 a.m., meal prep for the week, unpack every box, finish the Spanish course, read Mia's whole book series before summer, so he'd have something to say the next time it came up. He set 3 alarms. He woke at 5:04, hit the first alarm, and thought, "I'll just start at 6 instead. Fair trade." At 6, He lay in bed doing the math on how long a quick workout would take against how tired he already felt. And the math didn't work, so he didn't move. By 6:40, he was already running late for work. He grabbed one box on his way out, just to prove something to himself, cut the tape, saw a stack of Mia's drawings from when she was 4, felt his throat tighten, and taped it back shut. The list went back into his notes app, unopened, next to 11 identical ones. He wasn't failing because the goals were wrong. Work out, read, unpack. Those were good goals. He was failing because every single one of them started at a size his brain flagged as a threat before his hands ever moved. The bigger the list, the safer it felt to do nothing on it at all. 2 weeks later, the company put Daniel on a job with Victor Ainsley, a mover who'd been with the company 11 years. Quiet, steady, 59 years old, and, according to everyone, the only guy who'd turned down 3 promotions to stay on the trucks. They were moving a retired librarian into a smaller place, 40 boxes of books, labeled with military precision. "You pack your own place like this?" Daniel asked, half joking, hoisting box 31. Victor laughed. "My place used to look worse than yours." Daniel looked up. "How do you know what my place looks like?" "Same way I know what mine used to look like. Dispatch has been floating me onto your jobs 4 months now, filling gaps. I've watched you the whole time. You talk about getting to your boxes the way I used to talk about getting to the gym. 11 years ago I had a divorce, a storage unit I paid for and never opened, and a doctor telling me my blood pressure was a countdown clock." They sat on the tailgate for their break. Victor asked him straight, "What's the smallest version of the thing you keep not doing?" "I don't know. Read for 20 minutes, I guess." "Wrong question. Not 20 minutes. What's the version so small it's insulting?" Daniel thought about it. "Read 1 page?" "1 page," Victor said. "That's it. Not the version that fixes your life tonight. The version your brain can't talk you out of. Same with the boxes. Not unpack the apartment. Open 1 box, take out 3 things. Stop. Same with the gym. Not a workout. Shoes on, walk to the end of the block." "That sounds too small to matter." "It's not supposed to matter on day 1, Victor said. You ever push a loaded safe across a hardwood floor? The first half inch is the whole fight. Every muscle you've got. Once it moves that half inch, one guy can walk it the rest of the way to the truck. Your brain doesn't fight the workout, or the book, or the boxes. It fights the size of the first push. Make the door 2 inches wide, and you'll walk through it without thinking. Make it a mile wide, and you'll stand there flexing your legs at a couch that isn't moving." Daniel frowned. "So the trick is just lying to myself about how small the goal actually is?" "No," Victor said. "The trick is telling yourself the truth for once. The goal was never read a book or get in shape. The goal was always keep showing up. You've been failing a test nobody was grading. Nobody's checking if you read 1 page or 10. They're checking if you're still doing it in June." He pulled a pen and wrote on the back of a delivery slip, the 2-minute rule. Shrink the start, not the goal. "Here's the part nobody believes," Victor said. 1 page a night doesn't sound like anything, but 365 pages is a novel by year's end. Most people who plan to read 30 books this year finish 0 because the plan itself is too big to survive January. You, doing next to nothing, 1 page, never skipped, will still be turning pages in December, long after every one of them quit in week 2. And the boxes? 9 boxes, 1 a week, 9 weeks, done. You've had them 14 months doing it the big way. The small way beats that by over a year. Victor's challenge had a shape to it, the way all his instructions did. 60 days. Every single day, you do the 2-minute version of something. Doesn't matter which. You don't skip because it felt too small to count. Small is the whole rule. You call me on day 60 and tell me what happened. And Daniel, the day you do more than 2 minutes because you're already moving, that's not the plan working extra hard. That's just what happens. Don't force it. Don't chase it. Just show up small. Daniel read 1 page of a paperback he'd owned for 2 years. Closed it. Felt almost stupid. 1 page had taken 90 seconds. He opened 1 box. Took out 3 things. A lamp, a stack of clean towels, a coffee press still wrapped in newsprint from the move. Left it open, plugged the lamp in. He put his shoes on and walked to the end of the block. It was cold. He almost didn't. He went anyway, because 2 minutes of cold was survivable in a way. A 5-day gym plan never was. The 1 page had quietly become the habit of finishing whole chapters most nights without deciding to. 3 boxes were flattened by the recycling. He hadn't hit 5 workouts in any week. Some weeks it was 2. Once it was only the walk to the block and back. But he hadn't had a single day at 0 either. It wasn't much, but it was the first 3 weeks in 14 months where 0 wasn't an option. In week 5, Daniel had the flu for 4 days. No pages, no boxes, no walks. He texted Victor, broke the streak, might as well restart the whole plan next month. Victor called him instead of texting back. The rule was never, don't miss a day. The rule was, shrink it back down the second you feel resistance. You're sick. Fine. Today's 2-minute version is drinking water and going back to sleep. Tomorrow, 1 page. That's the whole plan. There's no restart button. There's just tomorrow's 2 minutes. Daniel noticed something on a Tuesday night he hadn't planned and couldn't have forced. He'd read for 35 minutes without checking the clock, not because he'd decided to read 35 minutes. Because 1 page had, without any negotiation, turned into a chapter, and the chapter pulled him into the next one. His shoes were already on before he'd consciously decided to walk. He caught himself standing at the door, laces tied, and thought, when did I do that? His body had started the habit before his mind got a vote. His supervisor pulled him aside at the depot, not about a mistake, for once. You've seemed lighter, she said, unsure how else to put it. You're not late as much. You laugh at the dumb jokes again. Daniel didn't have a good answer ready. I've been doing this dumb 2-minute thing, he finally said, and found himself explaining it right there in the break room, over vending machine coffee, to 2 other guys on the crew who'd stopped to listen. On his next weekend with her, Mia climbed onto the couch out of old habit, braced to be told he was busy. Daniel picked up the book from where they'd left off, page 43, and just started reading. No promise, no announcement. Mia went quiet the way kids go quiet when something is different, and they're not sure yet if it's safe to believe it. They finished the book 3 weekends later. It was the first one they'd finished together in over a year. By week 8, only 1 box was left, the one with Mia's drawings from when she was 4, the one he'd taped shut twice before. This time he opened it, took everything out, and used the flattened cardboard as backing for a bulletin board. He pinned the drawings to it and hung it on the wall across from the couch, where Mia would see it the moment she walked in. Daniel called Victor from the same tailgate where the challenge had started. 9 boxes are gone, he said. I finished 3 books, my first 3 in 2 years. Mia and I finished 2 more together. I still don't work out 5 days a week. Some weeks it's twice. but I haven't had a 0 week since March. How many days did you do the 2-minute version, even on the bad days? Victor asked. Daniel checked his notes app, the same app that used to hold his abandoned Sunday lists. 56 out of 60. That's not a streak, Victor said. That's a person who starts things now. Congratulations. You didn't get more disciplined. You just stopped asking your discipline to lift something too heavy to move. Daniel thought about that for a long time afterward. He never found a better way to say it than the way he eventually wrote it on a sticky note above his desk. You don't need more willpower. You need a smaller door. 6 months later, a new guy joined the crew, 24, overwhelmed, the kind who announced he was finally getting his life together every Monday and meant it every time. Daniel caught him staring at a stack of his own unopened mail in the break room. Not 20 things, Daniel told him, echoing words that weren't his. One thing, small enough it's insulting. That's the whole rule. He didn't mention where he'd learned it. He didn't have to. The kid would find out the same way Daniel had, by doing it. Mia is 8 now. The bulletin board with her 4-year-old drawings still hangs across from the couch, and there's a shelf beside it with every book they've finished together since. She picks the next one before he even asks. Here's what Daniel would tell you if he were the one talking to you right now. You don't have a motivation problem. You have a starting line problem. The goal isn't too hard. The first step of the goal is too big, and your brain will always choose comfort over a threat, even a fake one. So here's the rule, in 3 parts. 1. Take the goal you keep abandoning and shrink the first action until it's almost embarrassing. Not, read more, 1 page. Not, get in shape, shoes on, walk to the corner. Not, clean the house, 1 drawer. 2. Do the 2-minute version every single day, especially the bad days. The size is the whole point. You are not allowed to skip because it doesn't count. That's the resistance talking you out of the one thing that actually works. 3. Let momentum happen on its own. Some days, 2 minutes stays 2 minutes. Some days it becomes an hour. Don't force it either way. Just show up small, on repeat, and let the compounding do what willpower never could. 60 days from today, you won't be a different person because you tried harder. You'll be a different person because you finally made it impossible to say no to starting. So tell me, in the comments, what's the 2-minute version of the thing you've been avoiding? Not the big goal, the small, insulting 2-minute version. Write it down right now, before you close this video. Then go do it. You've got 2 minutes.